Hi, today we are going to discuss about resources and development of Grade 10 Chapter 1. Human beings interact with nature through technology and create institutions to accelerate their economic development. Everything available in our environment which can be used to satisfy our needs provided it is technologically accessible, economically feasible, and culturally acceptable, can be termed as resources. So basically, human beings are essential components of resources. They transform material available in our environment into resources and use them. The resources can be classified in the following ways on the basis of origin, that is biotic and abiotic, on the basis of exhaustibility, renewable and non renewable, on the basis of ownership, individual, community, national, and international, and on the basis of the status of development, potential, developed, stock, and reserved. The biotic resources are obtained from biosphere and have life such as human beings, flora and fauna, fisheries, livestock, etc. And abiotic resources, all those things which are composed of non-living things are called abiotic resources. For example, rocks and metals. On the basis of exhaustibility, we are getting renewable and non renewable resources. Renewable resources are which can be renewed or reproduced by physical, chemical, or mechanical process. For example, solar and wind energy, water, forests, and wildlife, etc. The renewable resources may further be divided into continuous or flow. On the other hand, non renewable resources occur over a very long geological time. These resources take millions of years in their formation. Some of the resources, like metals, are recyclable, and some, like fossil fuels, cannot be recycled and get exhausted with their use. On the basis of ownership, the resources are divided into individual resources, community owned resources, national resources, and international resources. These resources are individual resources like farmers who own land, plantation pasture lands, ponds, water in wells are some of the example of resources ownership by individuals. On the other hand, the resources which are accessible to all the members of the community, village commons like grazing ground, burial grounds, village ponds, etc., public parks, picnic spots, playgrounds in the urban areas are called community based resources. Roads, canals, railways, water resources, forest, wildlife, land within the political boundaries, and oceanic area up to 12 nautical miles or 22.2 kilometer from the coast termed as territorial water resources under national resources. So here we can see all the national resources on the basis of ownership. There are international institutions which regulate some resources. The oceanic resources beyond 200 nautical miles of the exclusive economic zone belong to open ocean, and no individual country can utilize these without the concurrence of international institutions. On the basis of status of development, we can get resources like potential, developed, stock, and reserve resources. The potential resources which are found in a region but have not been utilized, for example, the western part of India, particularly Rajasthan and Gujarat, have enormous potential for the development of wind and solar energy. But so far, these have not been developed properly. Then comes developed resources. Resources which are surveyed and their quality and quantity have been determined for utilization. The development of resources depends on a technology and level of their feasibility. So we can see that technology play a very important role to develop resources. Now, stock resources. Materials in the environment which have been the potential to satisfy human needs, but human beings do not have the appropriate technology to access this, are included among stock. For example, water is a compound of two gases, hydrogen and oxygen. Hydrogen can be used as a rich source of energy, but we do not have advanced technical know how to use it for this purpose. Hence, it can be considered as stock resources. Now, on the basis of the status of development, we are getting another kind of resources which is called reserve. Reserve are the subset of stock which can be put into use with the help of existing technical know how, but their use has not been started. These can be used for meeting future requirements. River water can be used for generating hydroelectric power, but presently it is being utilized only to the limited extent. Thus, the water in dams, forests, etc., is a reserve which can be used in the future. As resources are the free gifts of nature, human beings use them indiscriminately, and this has led to the following major problems. First of all, depletion of resources for satisfying the greed of few individuals, accumulation of resources in few hands, which in turn divided the society into two segments, that is, haves and have nots, or rich and poor. Indiscriminate exploitation of resources has led to the global ecological crisis, such as global warming, ozone layer depletion, environmental pollution, and land degradation. Therefore, resource planning is essential for sustainable existence of all forms of life. Sustainable existence is a component of sustainable development. To talk about sustainable development, two things we have to keep in our mind. One, resources should be left for future generation, and we should not damage our environment. In 1992, there was the first International Art Summit was held in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. The assembled leaders signed the Declaration on Global Climatic Change and Biological Diversity. The Rio Convention endorsed the Global Forest Principles and adopted Agenda 21 for achieving sustainable development in the 21st century. Agenda 21 is a declaration signed by world leaders in 1992 at the United Nations Conference on Environment and Development, which took place at Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. and it aims at achieving global sustainable development. It is an agenda to combat environmental damage, poverty, disease through global cooperation on common interest, mutual needs, and shared responsibility. One major objective of Agenda 21 is that every local government should draw its own local Agenda 21. So, resource planning is widely accepted strategy for optimum use of resources, and it has importance in the country like India, which has enormous diversity in the availability of resources. There are regions which are rich in certain types of resources but are deficient in some other resources. For example, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh are rich in minerals and coal deposit, whereas Arunachal Pradesh has abundance of water resources but lacks in infrastructural development. The states of Rajasthan has good potential of solar and wind energy power production but lacks in water resources. The cold desert of Ladakh is relatively isolated from the rest of the country, but it has very rich cultural heritage, but it is deficient in water, infrastructure, and some vital minerals. These calls for balanced resources planning at the national, state, regional, and local levels. So, to do resource planning, definitely it is a very complex process. It involves the first one is identification and inventory of resources across the region of the country. The identification and inventory basically involves surveying, mapping, quantitative and qualitative estimation, and measurement of the resources. The next is evolving a planning structure endowed with appropriate technology, skill, and institutional setup for implementing resource development plans. Thirdly, which is very important for resource planning in India, that is matching the resource development plans with overall national development plans. First 5-year plan launched after independence to achieve the goals of resource planning right from the beginning. The conservation of resources is very, very important. Irrational consumption and overutilization of resources may lead to socio-economic and environmental problems. Gandhi once said, "There is enough for everybody's need and not for anybody's greed." He placed the greedy and selfish individuals and exploitative nature of modern technology as the root cause of resource depletion at the global level. In 1974, Gandhian philosophy was once again presented by Sumakar in his book Small is Beautiful. In 1987, the Brundtland Commission report introduced the concept of sustainable development and advocated it as a means for resource conservation, which was subsequently published in a book entitled Our Common Future. Another significant contribution was made at the Earth Summit at Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Now we will discuss about the land resources. It supports natural vegetation, wildlife, human life, economic activities, transport and communication system. Land is an asset For a finite magnitude, it is important to use the available land for various purposes with careful planning. India has land under a variety of relief features, namely mountains, plateaus, plains, and island. About 43% of the land area is plain, which provides facilities for agriculture and industry. Mountains account for 30% of the total surface area of the country and ensure perennial flow of some rivers, provide facilities for tourism. About 27% of the area of the country is the plateau region. It possesses rich reserves of minerals, fossil fuels, and forests. Now we will speak about land utilization. So we have to discuss about our forest, land not available for cultivation, etc. Land resources are used for the following purposes like forests, secondly, land not available for cultivation. Under this, we are getting two types of land like barren and wasteland, and land put non agricultural uses, example, buildings, roads, factories, etc. Thirdly, other uncultivated land, excluding fallow land. Under this, the first one is permanent pastures and grazing land. Secondly, land under miscellaneous trees, tree crops, groves, not included in net zone area. And thirdly, a cultivable wasteland left uncultivated for more than 5 agricultural years. Now the next one is fallow lands. Under this, the first one is current fallow land, which is left without cultivation for one or less than one agricultural year. And secondly, other than current fallow land, left uncultivated for the past 1 to 5 agricultural years. Next one is net zone area. Area sown more than once in an agricultural year plus net sown area is known as gross cropped area. Even multiple cropping, strip cropping also comes under this net zone area. The use of land is determined both by physical factors such as topography, climate, soil types, as well as human factors such as population density, technological capability, and culture and traditions, etc. Total geographical area of India is 3.28 million square kilometer. Land use data, however, is available only for 93% of total geographical area because the land use reporting for most of the northeast states, except Assam, has not been done fully. So, not only that, moreover, some more areas of Jammu and Kashmir occupied by Pakistan and China have also not been surveyed. The land under the permanent pasture has also decreased. Hence, these lands are cultivated once or twice in about 2 or 3 years, and these are included in the net zone area, and that is why the net zone area is now 54% of the total reporting area in India. The pattern of net zone area varies greatly from one state to another. It is over 80% of the total area in Punjab and Haryana and less than 10% in Arunachal Pradesh, Mizoram, Manipur, Andaman and Nicobar Island. Forest area in the country is far lower than the desired 33% of geographical area as it was outlined in the National Forest Policy of 1952. The forest is considered essential for maintenance of the ecological balance and the livelihood of millions of people who live on the fringes of these forests depends upon it. A part of the land is termed as wasteland and the land put to other non agricultural uses. Wasteland includes rocky, arid, and desert areas. The land put to other non agricultural uses includes settlements, roads, railways, industry, etc. Continuous use of land over a long period of time without taking appropriate measures to conserve and manage it, it has resulted in land degradation. 95% of our basic needs for food, shelter, clothing are obtained from land. Human activities have not only brought about degradation of land but have also aggravated the pace of natural forces to cause damage to land. Some human activities such as deforestation, overgrazing, mining, quarrying to have contributed significantly land degradation. At present, there are about 130 million hectares of degraded land in India. Approximately 28% of it belongs to the category of forest degraded area, 56% of it is water eroded area, and the rest is affected by saline and alkaline deposits. Mining sites are abandoned after excavation work is complete, leaving deep scars and traces of overburdening. In the states like Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, deforestation due to mining have caused severe land degradation. In states like Gujarat, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, overgrazing is one of the main reasons for land degradation. In the states of Punjab, Haryana, Western Uttar Pradesh, over irrigation is responsible for land degradation due to waterlogging, leading to increase in salinity and alkalinity in the soil. The mineral processing like grinding of limestone for cement industry and calcite and soapstone for ceramic industry generate huge quantity of dust in the atmosphere. It retards the process of infiltration of water into the soil after it settles down on the land. Industrial effluents as waste have become a major source of land and water pollution in many parts of country. So far, we have talked about many problems. Now, there are some ways to solve these problems of land degradations also. Afforestation and proper management of grazing can help to some extent. Planting of shelter belts of plants, control on overgrazing, stabilization of sand dunes by growing thorny bushes are some of the methods to check land degradation in arid areas. Proper management of wastelands, control of mining activities, proper discharge and disposal of industrial effluents and wastes after treatment can reduce land and water degradation in industrial and suburban areas. Thank you for watching this video. Hope you have learnt a lot. Shripana Chakraborty, teacher, National Public School, Rajajinagar, Bangalore, India. Wait for my next video. See you.